Hey, welcome back, everybody. Today, I get the privilege to have a conversation with Bob Pacanovksy, who has the black tie experience. And for those of you who are listening, you might want to go watch the YouTube video because Bob is wearing a tuxedo with the tie, everything, the cummerbund, the whole thing. And I, too, am wearing a tuxedo for this episode so I could be at the same level as the great Bob and the black tie experience. So Bob, first, thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to have a conversation with me on my podcast.
Well, thanks, Peter. And hey, thanks for, dressing up. You look great. I mean, I love the black tie. I love the black tux. So spot on. Thank you.
You're welcome. It feels. Last time I had a tux on was actually at the NSA National Convention last year. It feels good to wear it every now and then.
I know, doesn't it? Yeah.
So, Bob, let the audience know a little bit about you and this black tie experience. So, if you could share some information.
Sure. So, this program really has been developed, Peter, over time because I spent the last 20 plus years in the hospitality industry. I was the owner of restaurants, catering company, event company, managed a banquet facility. And this was the uniform that myself and my staff wore. We had they had the tie, the shirt, the vest, the black pants. I had the jacket on. And so when I sold my company at the end of 2014 and started doing speaking and training, I was looking for a brand on and talking about the overall aspect of really delivering this over the top or customer experience, having great actions, behaviors, and talking to some friends of mine and like, hey, and they said, hey Bob, this whole black tie experience. I mean that's what you did. And so that's how this was born. But it really became because of the uniform that my staff wore. But it was much more than a uniform. It was really a mindset that I had to create with them to really deliver this wow experience, as well as create these lasting impressions for all of our guests and our customers.
That's interesting because I do feel different being in a tuxedo. I do have a different mindset in being a tuxedo. And I think we forget about that at times. And when we're interacting with individuals, especially if you want to provide that over-the-top experience, you also have to look the part.
Well, and that's what I talk about. In fact, I have an acronym for my business. It's based on the word LASTS, LASTS. And so I talk about how you look, how you act. Also, the first S is how you speak. Then the T is what your tact is or how you behave. And then finally, how you serve. And sometimes we really forget about, we rush to the service part because we want to create this unbelievable customer service experience. But I tell people that, we have to know how to look the part, act the part before we can actually serve the part. And that's what part of this whole black tie mindset is all about.
I love it. And as you're describing that, takes me to a previous episode, Jay Succo. He's an improviser out in LA and does corporate training. And he was mentioning one of the first things he learned was you can't, when you're in the theater, you dress one way, but once you walk into corporate America, you can't have that same look. You have to really kind of dress the part. You don't have to be in a black tie per se, but you have to have that corporate look about yourself in order to get buy-in.
Well, that's just it. And so I joke with people in my seminars. You can certainly wear a black tuxedo every day. Trust me, you'll get a lot of interesting looks, especially walking through airports. But it really is more of the mindset, so you don't have to have the black tie on to really deliver this black tie mindset of because Peter, and I've done my research, the black tie, think about it, the black tie around the world is this symbol of excellence. Think about, just that maitre d' or that concierge type service. They are really showing you that excellence in everything they do on not only how they look and act, but how they work with you, how they treat you, I mean, it's almost like you're the only person, you're the only customer at that time. Well, that's really what I'm really talking about. You don't have to have the black tie on, but if you have the mindset of really making people feel differently about your product, your service, and themselves than they ever have before, then you're really living this whole black tie thing.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that concept of you're the only client, customer, employee that I'm at this moment in time. I'm thinking about. I'm focused in on, and I'm going to provide that service. I love that concept, and man, do we need more of that? Because a lot of times, it's just we tend to have a transactional type of thought process and move to the next, and we lose clients and customers that way.
Well, no, you're right. Not only is it that, but I love this device, but Peter, this thing's killing us at times. We are, for whatever reason, and I understand how important these are, but both you and I have seen people think that whoever's on this screen is much more important than whoever I'm talking to on the phone or in person. And it still is all about, making that overall connection with someone on a personal basis. And so that's what I talk about as well.
Yeah, I've got some friends who will remain nameless right now that I think they need to go through a 12-step program as it relates to their cell phone. And because a text, something. I mean, we're in the middle of a conversation and they're reaching over, grabbing their phone. Like, excuse me, just 1 second. And I'm going, but that's like the 18th time you've done it in 10 minutes. Anymore, what I do is I tell them I keep my phone up, and I said I'm just looking at the corner of my eye because my son is a diabetic. And if I see a text, that's the only reason I will ever go for it. If I see a text, other than that, I don't pay that much that close attention to it, and just focus.
No. Well, good for you, because that's how it should be. But really part of this business for me came about because of my background. I calculated over the 15 plus years that I had my event and catering company, we help plan, create, cater over 7,000 meetings, events, receptions, you name it. And in those, I was able to see what I call the good, the bad, and the ugly, and how people acted, behaved, spoke. And a lot of it had to do with this technology. And here's the thing that I tell people is that no one's going to come up and tell you, hey, Peter, you know what? You're rude and ignorant, and I don't want to do business with you. They're not going to say it. Right. It's going to be in the back of their mind. Say, you know what? I don't know. There's just something about this person that I just, he or she doesn't seem to be that interested in me. And my challenges and my headaches, it's all about them or what's on their phone. And that's not what black tie is about. It's really devoting that full effort, like I said earlier, that you're that one and only person right now at that given point in time, and I'm all yours.
I love the way you describe that, because I immediately went in my head, and this is something I've learned being a speaker. I learned I wasn't very good at it at one time, but I'm very cognizant now. And what you're describing is, it's not about me, it's about my audience. And a lot of times when we've got these things and we're looking and we're thinking about ourselves, and that audience member is getting put off by it, and we got to stop it.
Well, and you're spot on. What I talk about is, I ask customers, I ask prospects, you have a choice. Will you choose to be just what I call just good enough in your customer service, in your leadership, in your actions and behaviors, or will you be black tie? Because all of us see, or we are all consumers. We see that just good enough mindset happening every day when we try to make a transaction, and that person across the desk from us or behind the cash register doesn't even know who we are. They don't even care, because like you said earlier, it's just this transactional purchase. It's the one and done. And it's just this good enough mindset. And here's the challenge, Peter. We take it as consumers. We're like, well, whatever. Well, I don't want to have people take it anymore. We now talk about, oh, you can't believe the last unbelievable customer experience I just had. It's like it's this big anomaly that's happening in our country today that, oh my gosh, I really had great customer service, a great customer experience. That shouldn't be anymore. It should be the norm, but yet we're getting the just good enough as the norm.
Yes, and being a former restaurateur, because I'm Greek, I had to be in a restaurant at some point in my life early on,
Right.
and a lot of my early training was in customer service and providing that experience. And I learned that reflecting back, that those tables that I was serving, that was my audience. And I had to do, when things got backed up in the kitchen, things were going wrong behind the scenes, I couldn't let them know that. I had to kind of entertain them in a way and give them that experience that they're not just sitting there really wanting to crush
me. Amen. Yeah. And I think that's what's missing. I mean, part of it is, I don't know if our staffs are trained the right way, that, or what I call, one of this, because I have this 4-step, or really what's called the 4 principles to create the black tie customer experience. And one of them is simply what I call the way of doing things. What's your way? What's your company way of doing things? See, all the big companies and small ones have a way. I mean, my company had a way of doing things. I didn't really develop it. It was what my team said, that, hey, guys, this is the way of doing things. This is the this isn't Bob's way. This is the way that we're doing things for when we work with our customers. Disney has a way, Apple has a way, Starbucks has a way, Ritz has a way, everybody has a way. And I think what's missing today, Peter, is that we're not devoting enough time in training our employees on the way of really wowing our customers.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. As you were discussing that, I wrote the word brand. The way we do things ties back to our brand, which ties back to our mission, which ties back to the name of the company and how we are. Because you said Disney, there's a perception there. And Disney, they're cast members, they're not employees, right. And it's the way that we instill that into the culture of the organization. And if we do it right, then that will come across. But to your point, we write it. We write the mission statement. We put it in the break room, but nobody has looked at it, or no, we're not adhering to it.
Well, right, and that's why that goes back to what I talked earlier of that acronym for the word lasts. Is so part of in creating the way is I tell people, okay, so let's figure out what's the way on how you look. I mean, look stands for dress code, body language, appearance. How do you act? How are you acting in public? Because now everybody can see it. The black tie, by the way, on the back of my phone.
Nice.
It's always on, Peter. It's always on. Or even if I'm not wearing this, it's always on. But now, how do you act? How do you speak? What words do you use? And it's not being robotic. No one likes that robotic, oh, well, yes, thank you very much. I must answer it this way. It's once your people know the way, now they become conversational. Now, like to your example in the restaurant, now you're on stage. You want to interact with your customers. You want to engage with them. And that's why that's so important. And by the way, not to promote these guys, but people tell me, oh, Bob, I don't know if we can do this or not. So folks, I understand, but I mean, because it's not easy, but let me tell you that there's a company that has solved this challenge. So if they can do it, by the way, they hire mostly 16 and 17-year-olds.
Whoa.
And they're only open up 6 days a week in the restaurant business. You know who I'm talking about. Chick-fil-A.
Oh, Chick-fil-A. I was going to say McDonald's. No, I can't be it.
Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, they figured it out. They have the way of doing things, and they've trained their people the right way. And you know what? I was proud of our team when I had my company. I had part-time as needed people that worked for me, Peter, worked 2 or 3 or 4 times a month. And they were phenomenal. They understood what it meant to work for us. We trained them, but they got it and they really enjoyed really delivering that experience. And they were only working part-time as needed. I give all the credit to, to my staff, because they really helped us get to another level.
You said something there. You said that I don't know if we can do that. And we hear a lot of that out there. I don't know. This is the way we've always done. I don't know if we can do that. And a gentleman who I interviewed for my upcoming book who's a CPA, a partner in a firm. He challenges his clients because if they're having a conversation, they go, "I don't think we can do that." He goes, "Okay, tell you what. Let's just ask this question. What if we could? What would that look like?"
Right.
And
exactly.
to this point, and then he goes, sometimes it becomes a little bit uncomfortable because I'm trying to push them outside that comfort zone, and we might not come to an answer there, but it sticks in the back of their head. What could this look like? And it lends to thought and creativity, and a lot of times something gets birthed out of that.
Well, no, you're right, and that's what I challenge that's what I challenge my customers with. This isn't easy, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But you can think about those companies that go above and beyond to really create this customer mindset. They have great leadership from the top down. Everybody gets involved with it. Their culture is fantastic. They are thinking outside the box. They are looking at it saying, okay, how can we do this better? They're always working. I joke with people that, because I get, people call me and say, "Bob, I need help in customer service." I'm like, okay, stop, because I don't know what that means. There's a whole big realm of that. But by and large, there are a lot of companies that I work with who are already good in what they're doing on how their customer service mindset is. But here's the key, Peter. They want to get better. They never want to just keep at the status quo, because they know how difficult their or how much competition they have. So they bring me in because they want to get better. And I really applaud that, because let's face it, no one hires a trainer because they think that they stink at customer service, because they probably know it all anyway.
Right. So let me ask you this question. I've got two. I think I'm going to take a step back for a second before I ask the other one. You were talking about the way we do things, and that was part of a 5-part piece. Remind me of that?
4-part. Yeah, 4-part piece.
Could you tell me the other 3 parts?
Sure. Yeah. So that's number 2, actually. Number 1 is what I call really on this. So it's called this culture of welcome. And that's the first part is what your culture is in your company, because really what your you could have, or people say, well, Bob, we want to have great service. Well, if your culture isn't great, it's not going to matter. So I talk about culture as like your atmosphere. What's the atmosphere of your office? What's the atmosphere of your company? Is it bright and sunny? Is it a snowstorm that's getting ready to dump a foot of snow? It's a thunderstorm. What is it? So if we first talk about what is that culture of welcome, not only for your employees, but for your customers or guests. So that's number 1. Number 2 is then called, the way of doing things. What is your way of doing things? Number 3 is what I call your impact points. And we often overlook these because, or what an impact point are those subconscious impressions that people make about your business before, during, or after they purchase something from you. Now, they may not purchase anything from you. So, for example, your website. That's an impact point. That's one of the first things that can make an impact on your business. And so I have 2 types of impact points. What I call your company branded impact points. So your website, your lobby, your conference room. And then I ask the question, folks, what does your restrooms look like? Because right?
Yeah.
That's a huge impact point. That is a huge impact point on whether or not people are going to have the potential to do business with you. They may do business with you. So what's funny is Peter, we actually do an exercise that, and I'll show this to you because I've created this. I just happen to have it. So I have this impact wheel that I give to people. And right in the middle, you see the black tie. We put your company name on it. This one happens to be impact points on a customer meeting or visit. So it's like a mapping exercise. So we sit down with the company and say, okay, give me all the ideas on a customer meeting or visit from a company branded impact point. So we go through that. Then there's the second type of impact point, and it's even more important. It's called behavior-based impact points, which are you and me. It's your people. Mm-hmm. Think about it. You could have the most gorgeous lobby, the most pristine restrooms, the most, wonderful carpeting, blah, 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 you name it. And you get greeted by someone who looks like they rolled out of bed and has the most angriest, ugliest face, meanest face. You're gone. You're dead. So that's the third. So that's the impact points are number 3. The fourth is how to create loyal and raving fans. See, I talk about how can we move people from that one and done, being that satisfied customer, be that loyal and raving fan. Because when they do that, they become your brand ambassadors for you. They can't wait to tell your story. So those are the 4 principles, and they go in order because I think you have to work along that avenue in order to really create loyal and raving fans.
Wow, I love it. I love it, and I was excited at the culture, the way of doing things, but those impact points. And when you said it comes down even to the restroom, because I'm not going to give it. Let's say I recently went to dinner, and at a restaurant I haven't been to in a while, not in the state, and I walked into the restroom and I went, I don't think anybody's been here. It just, and I left, and it just, I don't know if I'm going to go back. And next time I'm in that town visiting, it was just disappointing. But to that point, we and I look at that as have we looked at every little detail?
Exactly. And that's what this exercise does, because most people that work for a company now, they put their blinders on and they walk past everything because they don't see it any longer. And all of a sudden, if you start doing this exercise and this seminar, because what I've done is I've created 4 seminars for each of these 4 principles. This one is really what's called putting yourself in your customer's shoes.
Yes.
What does your customer see or hear when they come into your business? And we forget about that. And then we wonder why, like what you said, you aren't going to come back. But here's what's interesting. Here's what you didn't say, Peter. And here's what most people don't do is they don't tell the business why. They'll just leave, or now here's where they'll tell. Right here.
Right. And that part does scare me, that I love reading customer reviews, but there are people out there, a business in that I know of in Southwest Florida was targeted by a professional con artist that wrote this horrible review about this restaurant and tried to extort money out of them. And it took about 2 to 3 years to get it done. So, but yeah, but that's what we do tell them. That's because we all look at reviews and we all, kind of follow what other people are saying, but I always, careful about the discount. And I think to your point, I should have said, but I know that the owner wasn't there. Right. But I may follow back up and provide that feedback. I love this concept. I love, getting to know the audience, having people look from your point of view, from understanding your audience's view, what they're seeing. And for us, we work outside, we work in our homes. That's where our offices are. So, but when we interact with a meeting planner, I want to be the easiest person to get along with. I'm low impact. I'm low maintenance. I'm just if I have to adapt, and because I know that I get repeat business doing that, and I know there's folks in our business who are just the opposite, are hard to get along with, and that's another one of those impact points that we have.
Well, you're right, and I also do that same thing. That's how I ran my businesses prior to this one. One of the things that people would always used to tell me is, Bob, you and your team are so easy to work with. You take care of all the details for us. And so I've taken that approach into what I'm doing now. It's, hey, Bob, can you be here 45 minutes beforehand? Absolutely. Whatever you want. I mean, that's why I'm here is to make your life easier. Whatever I can do to help you. And like you, I'm starting to get more and more repeat clients because they're like, hey, you know what, Bob? And it's just so easy. I make a call. I know what you're going to come with, and you always show up. You're great. You go above and beyond. I'm like, super. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, if you're a newbie speaker or anytime, my father always got me on the Vince Lombardi rule: always be early, don't be late. But I had a speaker tell me that he would get there at least 45 minutes in advance to make sure everything's working properly, and 9 times out of 10 it would be. So he would spend the rest of the time meeting and greeting the audience. I recently did a 2-hour workshop for an accounting firm in Cleveland. And I was the second speaker, but I got there early because I had to use their equipment and make sure everything worked. And the person who led off this session, he got there about 5 minutes beforehand. It took him a while to get things set up, but the meeting planner called me aside and thanked me for doing what I did. And she said, that guy basically told me he's been doing this for a long time and he knows, he doesn't need any help. He knows how everything works. And that just made him look even worse.
Amen. And Peter, both you and I know that Murphy's Law is going to take its toll sometimes. And I never want, I get nervous that if it's 30 minutes before and for whatever reason, I'm having some tech issues because whatever, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's 30 minutes to go. And my client's like, Bob, don't worry. I'm like, no, you understand. I don't want to have any challenges for you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, whatever I need to do. I did something too. I was down in Atlanta, speaking to a healthcare company, and I was the first speaker. And I got there, obviously, the day before they flew me in, whatever. But I showed up at like 7:30 in the morning. I wasn't going to speak until 8:30. Here there was a speaker coming after me that was supposed to speak at 10:15. And it was 10 o'clock, 10:05. He wasn't there yet. And they asked me to say, hey, by any chance, are you able to do another seminar? I'm like, well, yeah, let me know. But 5 minutes before, here comes the speaker. It's like, oh, man, guys, you don't understand. Or going back to what you said, Peter, their brand. They don't understand what they're doing to their brand.
Right. And something I've adopted that if I'm speaking at a conference and I'm second at bat, I always get there early, even before the first one starts, because that happened one time. I was there about 15 minutes early before the conference started, and they said, "Can you go on now? We can't." The speaker's lost, and he's staying in the same hotel that you were, which is right behind the facility. And I went, "Yep, let's go!" Boom. So yeah, that's and if you're listening and you're doing this part time and you're a content expert, you're delivering at conferences, always get there early. Always make sure things work, and it makes the meeting planner's life easier. Now, the second question I wanted to ask you is that you have told me that you've actually worked with, wait for it, CPA firms, CPA companies.
I have, yes.
Yes. And yes. So tell me what you've done with them.
Right. So it's actually been twofold. The first is on the subject of that business etiquette, where, they have brought me in to really refine, polish some of those skills that we take for granted in a business setting. So there have been some CPA firms that have brought me in on to really go through, and soft skills isn't the greatest term, but there are, because there's so many soft skills out there, but it's getting to those basics of, and in fact, I use this now. I had a CPA firm mention this to me that they asked all their employees this simple question, in that wherever they go, or how do they show up?
Yeah.
So think about that. How do you show up in that meeting, at that networking event? in that presentation for that prospect? Are you on time? What's your body language like? How do you dress? What words are you using? So how do you show up? Because it's really about that overall presence that you bring, because it's your personal brand tied in with the brand of your firm, your organization. And the two of them have to mesh. So I've done work that angle. Then also what I've done is I've done these course by course dining etiquette dinners. Think about it. All of us think we know how to eat, which we do, but the question I asked Peter is, how many of us know how to dine?
Oh,
because that's a whole nother avenue. So trust me when I tell you, some of these etiquette dinners, they could be boring as you can't believe, but I've twisted it around a little bit. I have a really cool twist that I give. But because this silly thing, we're on parade now. So you may go to that business lunch thinking not that much about it, but all of a sudden how you act, how you behave, you're representing you and your brand all the time. So it's been a good programs that I have for these firms.
Yeah, as you were describing that, my mind would go to some of the seminars either I've done in the firm or in an organization, or even these public seminars. And I look at the way, but more from inside an organization, I watch people, and to your point, how do they show up and their body language? And there's been a couple of times I just wanted to grab a couple and say, you know what? Your boss is sitting right over here. You look like you don't really give a crap. You probably do, but you know what? Your body language is saying, my boss made me show up, and I'm like, yeah, that drives me crazy. We forget how to show up and how to maintain. Real quick story. This woman told me from Minnesota in a seminar that during a break, she goes, I don't really get people. And I went, oh, this is going to be a good story. She said, yeah, they had an opening, and they usually post. However, they didn't post because they had the ideal person already there who had been showing up every single day. So when they promoted her, the rest of the office went bat crap crazy because it wasn't fair that they didn't post a position. And she said she got everybody in a room and said, you guys have been interviewing terribly, except for this person here. You guys haven't, to your language, you haven't shown up. You haven't looked like you cared. You have just been dragging your butts or whatever. This person has shown up every day with that energy. Boom. That's why it is fair, and you guys need to understand that.
Well, you're right. And think about this. So here's what I talk about a lot. The power of a strong presence, now it's a confident presence. It's not an arrogant presence, but doing all those things like you're supposed to do, most people aren't going to even really notice that you're not doing anything wrong. And that's what I talk about, is that when you're in that interview, when you're at that dining situation, if you're carrying yourself in what I call the black tie way of really making sure that you are, or you have that level of excellence in everything you do, being that true professional, most people aren't going to notice anything differently. It's only when we start acting and behaving in this odd way that we're starting to cut people off in mid-sentence, or we're treating the wait staff rudely. We're doing all these things. That's when people notice and put in the back of their mind saying, just something about this person. I'm just not sure.
Right.
So, it is crucial today.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I've always said, if you want to get somebody's character or their demeanor, take them out to dinner and see how they act with the wait staff. But actually, I think there was I heard this one story where part of the interview process, the CEO would take the person out there, but would also tell the wait staff just to kind of be a little bit, to provoke that emotion, to see how the person reacts in that situation as part of the interview, to judge that character, which I thought was really interesting way.
Well, and I've heard the same thing. And what I tell people, think about this. when people hire you, whether it's for a job or whether it's for, a for a new client, people want people that best work with their brand and image. So if you're going in for a job, with a company, you could be the best, the brightest, the smartest, but if your personal brand doesn't mesh with the brand and image of that company, there are a lot of other people out there that can do that. And I just think right now, we're taking this for granted because, you know what? It doesn't matter how I act. It doesn't matter how I behave. They're going to hire me. They may, but they may not keep you.
Right. One by the name of Karen Young, who wrote the book, Stop Knocking on My Door, Drama-Free HR. Basically, they had an attrition problem, and they decided that they would flip their hiring practice. So they went and spent time redeveloping the mission and vision statements and posted it on the website. And when somebody applied for the job, the first thing they had to do was go visit the website, look at the mission and vision, have a phone interview, and articulate how they would fit in with that. And if they couldn't articulate it, they would not get the white piece of paper for the application. And she said their attrition rate almost went to their okay, Cody, when you're editing this, make me sound a little bit smarter than I'm sounding right now. The retention rate went up dramatically, and it was because they bought into the culture. And I think flipping the hiring process it was a smart thing to do.
Well, I agree with you. And, I think we get in a habit of hiring bodies at times. And then we wonder why, why people aren't staying. And I've just never been a big fan of that. It's, who are you and how can you help us? Here's what we do, by the way. Here's what we believe in. Here's our, here are our core values. That's what I talk about a lot, especially in that culture. What are your core values and do they line up with ours? Because otherwise, it more than likely is not, it's not going to be a good fit. And both you and I know how expensive it is to constantly keep looking and hiring people. But yet we have companies that just don't seem to want to hire the right people.
Right. And you said the magic word there, but most companies don't think about it in this way. We're not hiring the right people. Well, wait a minute. What business are we in? We're in the accounting business. No, that's a byproduct. No, we're in the restaurant business. No, that's a byproduct. You're in the people business first and foremost, and everything else is a byproduct. So if you hire bad people, so it's investing, it's hiring the right people, showing appreciation, showing gratitude, providing that work environment that excites them. Boom! Now you're going to be a success.
So, first of all, I need to hire you to handle all of my PR because you just said it right there. You took, which is great. I'm glad you took my thunder because here's one of the key points that I talk about. No, I do, because in my PowerPoint I have so I have this slide, but I ask a question and I ask people wherever I speak, how many of you believe that you are in the hospitality business? And very few people raise their hand because we think of the hospitality business as restaurant, hotel, whatever. Well, then I put up a definition of hospitality, which is, or this one is, that art of making that personal connection with someone.
Yes.
Then I say, based on that definition, aren't we all in the hospitality business first and foremost? So going back to your point, we're in the people business, but yet, Peter, we forget about the power of hospitality. And that's what I talk about a lot is, we have to have that power of hospitality today to really go above and beyond. We talk about customer service, great, but we don't talk about hospitality. And I think hopefully that's what's going to separate me from a number of the other people that speak on this same subject, because I have that experience, that background in hospitality. That's what I've done for 22 years. So you hit the nail on the head. We're in the people business first.
Oh my God, you've literally have given me goosebumps. I can't make. I'm serious because you took that whole people business to a whole other level. I love that. And that's going to be a quote on these graphics, and that's. I'm bowing. That wow. That literally blew me away. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But it's true. I mean, that's what we need to do today.
Yeah, you're right. And maybe I think you have found the way to put it that people can understand it, because maybe we understand that we're in the people business, but that might just be too somewhat empty in a sense. But putting it in the hospitality business, no matter what business that we're in, no matter if we're a CPA firm, a personal financial planner, or whatever. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take the rest of the day off now.
I wish I could, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start making phone calls to some people I've never talked to before because now I just figured it out. So thank you.
Oh man, that is so powerful. And being somebody who grew up in the hospitality business, in the restaurant business, and I get extremely frustrated when we don't go out to eat very often because the experience is lackluster. We only go out to places that we know that provide that higher level of service, and yeah.
Well, but I mean, shouldn't it be everybody? And let's go right back to CPA firms, attorneys, whatever. And I know that because here's what I talk about. Aren't the tax laws the same for everybody? Aren't don't the conference rooms look alike by and large? I mean, yes. I mean, you have to deliver what you promise you're going to deliver if you're a CPA firm. But by and large, we work with CPA firms because of the people that are in those CPA firms and what they can do for us. Not necessarily with the CPA firm itself, it's the people that are in the CPA firm. And we talk about client engagement, client retention. I think it has to start making that personal connection, putting that trust factor in place so that now, all right, yes, you trust me, you like me, you think that I can do the great job for you. Okay, but now I also want to get to know you a little bit more because I want to become that trusted advisor for you in the CPA firm. I don't want to just do your taxes. I don't want whatever it is. Let me be that trusted advisor to help your business. That is being in the hospitality business, Peter, because that's what separates from other firms.
You're exactly right. But I'm going to put this in a little bit of another context. I'm going to go back to the 80-20 rule. It would be in some businesses, it would be nice if we could pay attention, give that same service across, through the whole client base or customer base. Yeah. And a lot of times we know that's a challenge.
Okay.
But if we focus on the 20% of our customers that bring us 80% of that business, we better be in the hospitality. We better know. And I've asked audiences, so do you know your 20%? And I get a lot of yeses. I go, okay. Do you know the owner's birthday? Why does that? Why do we care? Because it's called a birthday card. It's an acknowledgement. It's that human touch point. Do you know their spouse's birthday? Because I had one guy said, "Yeah, I know the birthdays, and I know their spouse's birthdays because I send the spouse a reminder that his wife or her husband's birthday's coming up in a few days, so they don't forget." Do you think that is huge?
Well, those are the little details that help those customers become brand ambassadors, those loyal and raving fans. I'll take it one step further, Peter.
Okay.
Because here's what I ask in my seminars. When I go to step or principle number 4, because I have 6 steps on how to create loyal and raving fans. So I ask people, how many of those people in the audience know their customer's birthday? And some hands go up. I'm like, okay, here's the next question. How many of you know the anniversary date of when that customer became a client of yours? And do you send them a little note saying, Peter, it's been 5 years. Thank you so much for your business. Because 9 times out of 10, you don't remember the date that you became a client, but I should. And now I'm sending this little note. Maybe it's a gift card. Thank you so much for 5 awesome years. Can't wait for more.
Wow. You know what? You get me thinking of different things, because I know my largest clients. I know their birthdays. I send them a card, but I like the anniversary one, and I wow. I'm gonna begin instituting that one moving forward.
Yeah. So I'm the doctor here, and sometimes I have to take my own medicine too. But that's something I've been trying to do more of. Just, because more than likely, they don't remember, but you do. And if you want to go above and beyond, if you want to go black tie, that's just something little that, and, it's not, it's not an email saying, hey, Peter, it's been 5 years. Thank you. No, it's that handwritten note that they can open up saying, thank you for 5 years, or whatever it is. Because then what happens, hopefully, during all this time, we still have to be delivering. That's what I tell people. You still have to deliver the product or service on time, on budget, saying what you're going to say. That is still the key. You can't do this and not have those actionable items that have to be taken care of. But once you do those things that you're saying you're going to do, and then you add stuff like this on top of it, now it becomes, oh, you know what? You have got to call Peter. He is phenomenal. He is going to take care of everything for you. And now you have this brand ambassador who can't wait to tell your story of how you made them feel. That's black tie.
Yeah. That is black tie. Oh my God, my friend, I'm exhausted. You gave me goosebumps. You blew my mind. I got brain matter all over my office now. But that is good stuff, my friend. And I can't thank you enough for spending time on my podcast, because this has been outstanding. And I appreciate. Awesome. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your knowledge, and I look forward to our paths crossing really, really soon.